Welcome to Bookkeeper's Support review of Quickbooks Online. So as you can see, when you first start, you get all these extra, start invoicing, all these ways to set up your file and get it all ready and get it moving. But when you look down, we're just going to hide that and come back to it at any time. That's fantastic. So what we've got here is our dashboard. So our dashboard shows us, the invoices that are currently paid or unpaid, what's been paid in the last 30 days, what our expenses are for last month. You can change that time frame at any time to what you want it to be. Okay, the same with your sales. So you can see what we've done for this financial quarter, or you can see what's been done for the last financial quarter, etc. Profit and loss, you can say this financial year. So I'd like to know what's going on in my business this financial year or in the client's business. And you can certainly utilize all of these things within QuickBooks. So you've got banking, which you can either access it here or you can go over here and access your banking. These are your bank feeds. So it'll bring in everything from your bank straight in here. This is a demo, so of course the date's going to be out, but generally you will have it up to date to the current date. Okay, so you've got all these different transactions coming in on the bank, so you can split it out a little bit. You can filter it as well, as you see, but you can also spread it out so that you can actually see what's come in. You can have a look at the transaction itself. This is exactly what comes through from the bank. All right, so that'll be on your bank statement line. Okay, and then once you've opened that up, you can tell us what it is. If it's an expense or a transfer, generally, you pop it in there and you tell us what the supplier name is and which category you'd like to send it to, so which account. So we'll just do general sales. You can attach it to a customer, or you can also add your tax code. So depending on what you've got, you just GST on non-capital, GST free on non-capital, GST on capital, and GST free capital. So generally, if it's a GST item, we say a GST on non-capital. You can have it set up as a default code for that, sales free. So yes, we're going to do that. No, it's not a sale, that's an expense. So we're just going to pop that in. Other expenses, where are we? Expense. Up we go. Here we go. We're just going to pick an expense. There we go. Dues and subscription. Choose our GST code. And you've got the customer. You can change it to add it as a bill if you'd like, to bill it to another customer on bill the expense, so to speak. You've also got classes there, so you can choose if you want to use the class function or not. And you can put in some detail there to say this is from so-and-so for this, or you can just leave it alone. You can also add an attachment, a copy of the bill or a copy of the receipt, and just go ahead and add. So if it's something that you want to, that's just add. So if you want to find a match, so it belongs to something, it will automatically bring up some information for you, and you can push out the dates if you need to. You can show all open bills, which we're going to do, or you can say bill payments because you've already allocated the payment within the system. Or you can try expenses, we can try all of them. So this is the only thing that's popping up. So it's obviously an email service and it's not within the system as a bill. So there's nothing coming up. So it won't match to anything. So that's when, again, you add it as an expense, you pick your supplier or customer and you put it in the expense that it belongs to with the correct GST code. If you need to split out the transaction, so if it's got part GST and part non-GST, this is how you do it. Okay, with the split, and again, you can pick the categories that it belongs to, and we can say that that's that. No, it's not that, but yeah. Expense, let me check. There we go. So separate it out into the two, put the descriptions in, choose the different GST codes, and the amounts. Okay, So that's pretty simple to do when you need to split it out within the bank feed. Okay, and if, I don't know if we've got an income, perfect. So we're going to pick our income. And again, you try and find a match, which you can see there's quite a lot of matches in there that are potential. So you could go tick, tick, those, right, there's a 0 difference in there. So 8760, 8760. That's perfect. So we can just save that and it'll get rid of it and it'll attach it to those 2 transactions. Okay, so that's quite easy to do. If you need to go searching for something, you go to your account history. And just watch out for those. And that will tell you everything that's been going on. We're just going to close that so we've got more space. Okay, and again, we can filter by the amount or again by the payment, by the payee, or the reference number, etc., or the date. Okay, so there's multiple ways to try and find things in here. You can also use the search function, which is fantastic, and you can search for transactions anywhere in there. And if you say, let's go Jennifer, Jennifer, and we're going to search for Jennifer. Right. And there's no reference to Jennifer. So let's say 1051. Let's try that as an amount and search for that. Right, and there's nothing there. So if I put in 100, which is a pretty common amount, it's going to bring up all of these for me. Okay, and that's because the reference number is got 100 in it. Okay, so you can utilize the search function for multiple things. You can search all through the different areas that you need to, journal entries included. You can search by the reference number, you can search by amount, right? And there's one for the amount. So if you're looking for something, this is a fantastic way of finding anything that you're missing. Okay, so that's our banking. Okay, you can create bank rules, which are obviously settings which save you time in your bank feed. So again, you can set up rules and how it applies and what the description is, or enter the value or the amount, etc. So you can add all that in, so it automatically filters through your bank feed. Okay. So you can also upload import files from here, which is not going to work for me today, but you can do a file upload if you want to, get it from your bank, or you can connect to your bank feed. Okay. Then you've got your sales, so you've got your all sales. Okay, it's like your dashboard, and it tells you exactly what's due, what's outstanding, what's been paid. You can create a new invoice, or you can put a payment against the invoice, or you can do a quote. They're all there. There's a lot of extra features in there, but these are just the general ones that you would use. Okay, so you've got your invoices. Right, again, you can receive payment from here as well, and match it up in the bank feed when you're ready to do the bank feed. All your customers are all lined up in there, and your products and services. So all your employee events, your services that you offer, can all go in there. Okay. All right. So then we go to your expenses. Okay, so there you've got your expenses and your bills in there. So your expenses are generally the things that you spend money on that you cash supply, or a bill is something that's got an invoice date, so you pay for it later. Okay, so those are the 2 options. So you can create a new bill from here. Okay, again, you put the supplier, what the terms are, what category it goes into, which is what expense account or for you. Okay, so we got bank charges, again, the GST, the amount, etc., and save and close, or save and new if you want to do another one. Okay, I'm just going to X out of that. Yes, leave. If you want to do an expense, you can do that as well. Like Bunnings or, you know, things that you want to add in there. You've got attachments. You can always add attachments in here as well, which is fantastic. Just tell it which account it came out of, your bank. So again, this is the expenses for cash payments, such as, you know, your fuel or your postage or anything like that that does not come as an invoice. Okay, you've got your employees in here, which this one's not connected to KeyPay, so just be aware that it's not going to, I'm not going to be able to show you payroll. But you can put your employee details in here, and then KeyPay is where you put the rest of the details in for your staff member, and that's where you run the pay run. Okay, so you've got your cogs wheel up here, which allows you to do accounts and settings, your manage users, your custom form styles, your chart of accounts, all your lists, right? Your products and services, recurring transactions, etc. And here is where you reconcile as well, but I'll show you another way to get into that. But you can also do attachments and currencies and all sorts of stuff from this section. So make sure that you are aware. So this is all your lists. Right, so you can go in here at any time and change the classes, which is like tracking, or job codes. That's what classes is used for. And then again, your products and services. If they've got, if your clients have products, then you can also put it in as inventory in these two here. Okay. Again, manage foreign currencies and custom form styles. So your reports. Sorry, I'll go back to reports. Okay, so you've got all your favorites there, which is your age receivables, balance, and P&L. And then you've got your audit log, which is really handy when you're doing work for clients. All your balance sheet budgets versus actuals. This is great. So you can actually see what's going on between your budget versus actuals when you put in your budget in there as well. Okay, so that's a really handy report to use. Okay, and the budget overview, again, you can run reports and things like that. So you can sort and collapse and whatnot through there. Okay, so you've got all of those standard reports. They're quite good on reporting, age receivables, collection reports, all those kind of things are all in there. So there you go, sales and customers, what's owed to you, what you need to pay, manage your taxes. So here's all your BAS reports. There is another way into that as well, employee reports, which you can actually get in when you hook up your employees. It comes up with a much more detailed list for you to run with as well. And all the things that the accountants use, journal entries, invalid journal entries, reconciliation reports, which are really handy, trial balances, all those kind of things. So there's a heap of things in here. There's a little bit more for payroll, but it's not really much. Okay, so that is, you can customize reports, you can edit them. You've got all your management reports in here as well. Okay, so your sales reports and those kind of things. So that's really handy when you're doing business advisory for your clients. Okay, again, GST, here's where you edit the settings and edit the rates. So your settings, really important to know this, you know, start of the current period, when you're lodging, accruals or cash, simple or detailed, ABN and all the details there, and your PAYG. Okay, so that's really important to know. Just wait for my system to catch up. Okay, so then you can review reports again from here. And to prepare a BAS, click on prepare BAS. Quarterly, make sure your start date, end date, and lodgement date are correct, because it's they don't allow you to undo it so easily. So make sure that everything is correct. Yes, total sales, PAYG, make sure all the information is entered into there. GST on sales, what you want to record, and make sure it's correct. And then mark as lodged. Only mark as lodged once you've done it and completed it and those figures are correct. Okay, otherwise it's a bit of a bugger to change later on. Okay, but also go here to record the payment in the bank so that you can say that it's all been lodged and paid from this screen. Okay, and then you've got a record of your payments here. Okay, so that just makes it a bit easier to track. Okay, so you go down to accounting, you've got your chart of accounts, which is really easy to work with. Again, it's your standard cash accounts, accounts receivable, all those type of things. So it's really easy to look at your account history from here, or make an edit or run a report for it. And of course, you've got all these wonderful options here to choose. If we're going cost of sales, what cost of sales is it? You know, we've just got general stuff in there. So they've set it up really well. So just be aware, you know, this is what you want to use it for, and you set the GST on it as well. Okay, and save and close. It's really, really easy to use. And again, you can go to account history and see what's happened in that account. You can also reconcile these accounts. You can reconcile pretty much all accounts in QBO, which is fantastic. So we're going to go to our reconcile screen. Okay, get started. Let's do it. Okay, so again, you pick the bank that you want to reconcile. Unfortunately, don't think this is going to allow me to do it. But if you've got MYOB or you've had MYOB, it's very simple to tick each one and be able to reconcile it to the bank. It'll ask you for the bank details of what your statement is versus what the system says. I highly recommend doing that with QBO just because we've had a lot of issues with bank feeds in the past. So definitely reconcile all your bank accounts and credit cards and loan accounts and everything like that. It's really necessary to keep on top of everything. Okay, so again, back to the dashboard, you can do a new transaction from here, anything here, journal entries, inventory adjustments, bank deposits, transfers, bills, invoices, etc. If you want to do a refund, you can do a refund here as well from for a client and a supplier credit if it's a for an expense. Okay, so you've got timesheets that you can have for your staff as well. So there's a lot of things that you can do in here. So just make sure that you have play around with it and you know exactly where to go for everything. Okay, and of course, just make sure that all your settings are set up correctly within the account. Okay, so it tells you exactly what your expectations are. You've got all the logo and everything there, and then you let it know what you want for your sales. So your invoice terms, shipping, custom fields, specific custom fields, service dates, etc. So it's really important to make sure that you're set up correctly in here. And just make sure that your financial year and everything is also set up the way that you want it to be set up in here, especially with currency and projects, okay, and date. So that's all there for you. Thank you very much for this overview and for viewing it, and have a fantastic day. That's it from Kelly from Bookkeeper Support.